All right, well, welcome to Thursday. Um, Carmen, I know you're at work, so if you have to leave, then you have to leave. I'm just going to keep recording. But yesterday I did the weekly, the big PowerPoint, presentation that I normally do on Wednesdays. And the thing screwed up. I had some technology glitches and halfway through it cut me off. So I'm just basically going to repeat the whole thing, which Carmen, if you can stay, or anybody listening, I'm just going to go over the whole thing. But this is the label reading portion, which I think is just such an important piece of the puzzle. So I'm going to go ahead and get started right now.
Yeah, those labels are really confusing.
Yeah, and they on purpose they try to trick us, and that's what I'm going to review today. Come on, there we go. All right, so this is Wednesday's presentation, but you're going to get it today, even though it's Thursday. But hopefully, it was a problem with my microphone and my camera. It wasn't Zoom and it wasn't my internet. So, but I unplugged everything and plugged it all back in, and it seems to be working just fine now. So we'll keep our fingers crossed. So I'm going to go over all the things that those big companies don't want me to tell you, and then we're going to get into the ingredients. Well, here's my agenda for the day. I'll skip the opening shout outs because I did all that yesterday just for the sake of time. What the big food companies don't want me to tell you, the macro breakdown, and how to decipher your ingredients list. And then if you would like, I'll send you some list as well.
Mhm.
All right, so here's just some funnies that I thought were kind of cute. Carmen, if you want to mute, because I can hear background.
I'm sorry. Okay.
No worries, but by all means, please unmute if you have a question, because it's just you and I, so it's not a big group this morning. Oh, good, we've got someone joining. All right, so basically, you guys send me pictures of the items and the ingredients list and the nutrition label, and you say, hey, Tammy, can I have this item? What do you think? Is that okay? Is this on the program? So hopefully my goal for you is after today's presentation, you will know whether that thing is good or not. Lois, you just joined in. I'm just repeating yesterday so that I have a full and complete PowerPoint to send out as the replay. So it's going to be a little bit of a repeat of yesterday, but I think I figured out the problem. So hopefully I will be able to start and finish the entire presentation. All right, so what the food companies don't want me to tell you. So they're trying to do things, and they can, on the front of their label, they can get away with saying a lot of stuff. But when they say that stuff, it makes us perk up. Oh, that must be a healthier choice. This must be better for me. And so one of the lines that they use is made with whole grains. So for me, that doesn't really mean anything unless it says made from 100% whole grains. So they could put a pinch of whole grains in there, and then the rest could be all the processed wheat flours and all the other processed stuff that spike the blood sugars. So it doesn't always guarantee you're getting a better product. Cholesterol free, that's another little trickery sometimes. I'm not saying cholesterol free is bad. Made with whole grains is not bad. I'm just saying it's not a iron stamp saying, oh, this is a better choice. And I'm just pointing this out because cholesterol free is written on a lot of products. And that was the big buzzword for a while back, years ago. Everything had to be cholesterol free. And if your doctor has told you to lower your cholesterol, that might be on your radar. And so you see a jar of like almond butter, you see 2 jars of almond butter, and one of them says cholesterol free. Oh, my doctor told me I should lower my cholesterol. Maybe I'll get that one. Well, guess what? If it's a plant-based food item like almond butter or peanut butter or anything plant-based for that matter, plant-based foods do not have cholesterol, and they never did. So if they're charging an extra 50 cents or $1 or whatever for the cholesterol-free version, don't give them the extra money, because if it's, again, plant-based, it never had cholesterol in the first place. So they're tricking you. All natural, that one's quite the buzzword as well. There, good, more people are joining. There are no rules or regulations to be able to say that. And all natural could mean, just basically means at one point, at some time, at some point in its process of existence, it might have been natural. And when I see all natural, a lot of times that little red light flashing in my head goes, they've probably added sugar. Because all natural often means that. Doesn't mean it has. And all natural doesn't mean it's bad. I'm just saying all natural is not the stamp saying that it's, oh, this is the best product. This is a better product. It doesn't really mean anything. There's no rules. Like organic, which I don't have on this list, doesn't also guarantee that it's a better product, but they have to jump through hoops and qualify to be able to put that organic stamp on their product. So that's a different story. Now, just because something says it's organic doesn't mean it's a better choice either, for that matter, because I've seen organic sugar. And right now, sugar is the enemy. We are avoiding sugar like the plague. So just because it says organic or all natural or any of these things does not put that iron stamp saying it's a better choice. Here we go again, plant-based. Again, I'm not saying plant-based is bad. Plant-based can be very good. Your vitamins, nutrients, antioxidants come from actual plants. But plant-based doesn't guarantee that it's good. It could still have a lot of chemicals in it. It could still have things that you might not want in it. It could still have high glycemic things in it. It could still have bad oils in it that are plant-based, like soybean oil. So just be mindful, look at your ingredients list, which I'm gonna go over in a few minutes.
Tammy, can I interrupt for a second?
Yes,
I bought eggs yesterday and I was looking for, pasture raised. And it's funny because what they say on it is organic feed and organic pastures, but it does not say pasture raised.
very
is that
good. That is
Okay.
very good deciphering, because they're using buzzwords. Oh, that we saw the word pastures. It was pasture, what'd you say, pasture feed?
Yeah, and organic pastures, but nowhere on here does it say pasture raised.
And
And
that's such a great point, because pasture raised means that they were out eating the bugs in the pasture, living a sunshine life, living their little best chicken lives, you know.
what does it mean when it says free range? Because that just means that they're not caged, right? But they could be.
That just means they're not in cages, but it doesn't mean they're not in a dark
Right.
building.
And so that's
And
the
they're
other
limited
word.
to where they can go. They didn't get maybe sunshine.
Yeah.
They may or may not get sunshine. But if you see, I do another PowerPoint, and it's usually the shocking secrets that big box diet companies don't want you to know. So I go over those things, but I have pictures of what all those things look at. But basically, at the end of the day, the pasture raised are the ones outside. They're fenced in, so they can't escape, but they're in the sun, they're eating the bugs, eating the things in the ground that they're supposed to be eating. They're fortifying the ground. So what comes there next will have that cycle of life. But if it doesn't say pasture raised, they are in small areas. It may not be an actual cage, but it's small areas, and they're touching each other. At least the pictures I've seen. So unless you see pasture raised chickens or from pasture raised chickens, it's still in a smaller area. And I notice it because, these prices are killing me too. So
Is
sometimes
my video on? Is my video on now?
it is. It is now. It wasn't, but
It
it is.
isn't? All right, no, because
I can see you.
yeah, I don't know why it shows that it's on, but I was just going to show you the box because everything about the box says organic. So, but it's not showing me. So no
I
big
can
deal.
see your video. Okay, now you're off.
Oh, you can see me? Because I can't
Yes,
see
we
me.
can see you.
Oh, okay, wait. So can you see this?
Yes.
I don't know if I can do that. Yeah, so yeah, this whole
It's
thing
too
is all
small for
about being
me.
organic, but there's the organic feed, organic pastures, but free range, organic everything, except I'm pretty sure that these are in one of those dark farm buildings,
Yeah.
squished
I mean, it's
together.
gonna be better than the conventional ones where if the shell is really soft, The yolk is very pale. The good eggs have a darker yolk and they don't fall apart as easy, and the shell is harder. It's good for your connective tissue. It's just, there's so many more benefits. So yeah, it's better. It's better, probably a better product, but unless it says pasture raised, it's not. Gluten-free is kind of same as cholesterol-free. They put that on a lot of products that never had gluten in the first place. So it doesn't always mean, oh, that's a better, it's not a stamp saying, oh, it's a better product because it's gluten-free. Are we gluten-free now on the first 12 weeks? Yes. And we want to see gluten-free on products that we're buying currently. I'm just saying it doesn't, iron stamp it saying, oh, it is a better product. You still need to look at your ingredients. You still need to look at your nutrition label. Sugar-free versus no sugar added. Usually sugar-free usually means that they've added the chemically sweeteners like aspartame and saccharin or sucralose. No sugar added usually means if it's a sweet item that they've added the better, the monk fruit or the stevia or the approved kind of the natural sweeteners. Not guarantee, but you still, again, you really need to look at your ingredients list and your nutrition facts. And I'm going to go over that in just a minute as well. The 5%, 20% rule. If something is 5% less or less, it's not a good source of that product. If it's 20% or more, then it's a good source. So if you're looking at vitamin D, and you want vitamin D, of course, and it's 20% or more, then you know it's a good source of vitamin D. But if it says 5% or 4% or 5% or less, it's not a good source of vitamin D. And so, but that's good if it's on trans fat or saturated fat or carbohydrates. We want those to be a little on the lower side. So if you see those numbers, 20% or more is a good source, or you're going to get a lot of it, good or bad. And then 5% or less is not a good source, or less of it. So if you're trying to avoid the thing, you want 5% or less. If you want more of the thing, you want 20% or more. Hopefully that makes sense. All right. So I'm just going to review the nutrition label today. And I will tell you, the most important thing you need to know when you're looking at your nutrition label is the serving size and the serving per container. And if you look at a can of soda or a bottle of soda or those prepackaged muffins or something, and it's one thing. So the assumption would be, well, it's for one muffin or for one can of soda or for one bottle of soda. But if you're paying attention, like when I was first learning all this stuff, I'm looking at this prepackaged, like one of those giant muffins, and it was lower in calories and it was lower in fat, lower in carbs, and lower in sugar. But God, I thought these were so much worse for me. How did I get that so wrong? And then I realized what they had done was they said a serving size is a half a muffin. So everything that I was reading is going to be doubled. So it would be double the calories, double the carbs, double the fats, double the sugars. So you got to know your serving size. And another thing about serving size, it's not what you should have. It's just what the company has decided most people will eat. There is not a rule on it, like those prepackaged brown rice bowls that you can get at Costco. They say one whole bowl is a serving, where I know those bowls are 3 servings because we're only doing half a cup of brown rice in a sitting. And there's a cup and a half in there. So you got to know what your serving size is when you're looking at the nutrition facts. It's what they're telling you. So in this case, it's got 8 servings, whatever. It's 2/3 of a cup. So if you're having a whole cup or something else, you know that the calories and all this other information is going to be different. Calories, you want to know that. But to me, calories are just a clue. Is 230 bad or is 230 good? I don't know yet. I don't know what's in this product. It might be really good or it might be really bad. If it's 230 calories worth of sugar and carbs, it would be bad. if it's 230 calories of protein and vegetables, it'd be really good. So it's just a clue. We want to know. Here's some clues. Where did we? Okay. So then there's the fat. You want to look at saturated fat. So here's your percentage. Here's your percentage, the 5% and 20% rule. So down here under calcium, this would be a good source of calcium or a great source of iron because it's 45%, so that's well above the 20. So if you're low on iron, you might want to have this product if you're looking to increase your iron intake. But as you can see, it's a low source of saturated fat. That's good. We don't want that. We want to avoid that. 0% cholesterol, so that's good. But that's what the 5%, 20% rule is, that purple column. You're also going to look and you're going to, oops, go back. You're going to see carbohydrates. So let's talk about those when you're looking at your label. I see 37 grams. So that's kind of the umbrella. Carbohydrates, 37 grams. But if you look right below it, it's got 4 grams of fiber. Well, we don't count fiber. The body doesn't absorb fiber. So you're going to minus the fiber out. So 37 minus 4 would be 33. So at this point, we have 33 net carbs in this product, which to me is still a little on the high side, but that's another talk show, I guess. Now it's, gosh darn it. Oh, here it is. Then it goes to sugars. Okay, it's got 12 grams and 10 of them are added sugars. Now this is something they knew 2016, they required the food companies to change their label and they have to tell you added sugars. So if something has 12 sugars, but it's like a spaghetti sauce because tomatoes naturally have occurring sugar, but 0 added sugars, okay, that's fine. But if it has added sugars, that means they added extra teaspoons of sugar or a form of sugar like high fructose corn syrup or something else. And as you can see, the 20%, that's a high source of sugar, which we don't want. So I would not probably want this product. So any questions on the label? So, oh, one other thing on the carbohydrates. If under that umbrella of carbohydrates, it's fiber, it's sugars, it's added sugars. And then if there's any sugar alcohols in it, it should tell you that too, under the carbohydrate umbrella. But sugar alcohols, we don't absorb either. So you're going to minus that out. So at this point, we determined we have 33 net carbs. But say, for example, it showed us, it showed us that it had 10, excuse me, 10 sugar alcohols. We would take that 33 and minus the 10. Now you're at 23 net carbs, if that's how many sugar alcohols. So you're minusing out your fiber and your sugar alcohols from your total carbohydrate. And that will get you your net carbs. So I'm sure you see that like on tortillas, the low carb tortillas. It'll tell you the net carbs, but it's because they've minus out the fiber. And if there are any sugar alcohols, which I don't usually see on tortillas, but again, you minus that out as well. All right, so let me stop the share for just a moment. I just wanted to kind of go over how the glycemic index works. So when we are hungry, hangry, grumpy, I'm grumpy if I get too hungry, if I let my blood sugars drop. I can cry real easy or I can get mad real easy. It's just not a pretty sight. So this is down here. So when a typical American diet, we eat something high glycemic, we shoot those blood sugars up, we bypass the fat burning zone, we go right into that fat storage zone. But when we go up quickly, boom, we come back down quickly. And when we come back down quickly, we feel hungry, whether the body needs food or not, but we feel hungry, we do that again. And again, we bypass the fat burning zone and we come down here and we're doing this all day. You know, that slump you get in the afternoon, this is the slump you're getting down here. So the trick is to eat foods that bring our blood sugars up slow and keep us in this fat burning zone. Following this little line here, we get hungry, we eat again, and we kind of stay in that fat burning zone. So when I talk about things high glycemic, that's this fat burning zone up here. Low, and particularly medium glycemic can keep us here. So I just kind of wanted to review that. I will go over that in another weekly topic, but I did want to touch on that because I do talk about the glycemic index a lot. That's how I lost my weight. That's how I lost all my weight. It's how I got on the big stage and won a bikini competition. I didn't count a single calorie. I just watched my glycemic index. That's how impactful it was for me. So I just wanted to share that. All right. That being said, let's go back. So now, when you're looking at your ingredients list, now I'm looking at particularly carbs, and carbs are the only culprit for spiking the blood sugars or not. Fats don't do it. Proteins don't do it. And most vegetables, unless you're eating a lot of a very high sugar vegetable, but romaine lettuce and bell peppers, asparagus and spinach and all that stuff will not do that. It's the carbohydrates. So the carbohydrates that will spike it up and put you directly into fat storage are your flours, your enriched, your white, your wheat, your bleached. All of those flours send your blood sugars right up. Even if there's no sugar in that product, and it's usually bread, you see those things in, but it's in a lot of stuff. But even if there's no sugar in that product, like Cheerios, they brag, oh, we're 1 gram of sugar. But it's because it's made with these kinds of flours, it will still spike your blood sugars instantly, sending you right into fat storage, setting you up for diabetes. Again, it's not all about weight loss, it's about your health, and which is really bad for your heart and really bad for your kidneys and really bad for your vision and circulation. So diabetes is a whole nother talk show. But these flours on the high glycemic side here are the ones that are the culprits of doing that. When I'm looking at, and I know oatmeal is not on the menu just yet, but this is for life. This is for your future. So if you choose to bring oatmeal back, the instant is so processed, boom, high glycemic, send you right into fat storage. If you were to trade it out for the old fashioned, you can still make it in the microwave just as fast. It's not going to save you any time by buying that instant stuff, but it is a lower glycemic. Gosh, I'm so sorry. Back. Sorry. I'm trying to use my little cursor here to point, but it keeps disappearing. So things that are going to be a better choice. And again, this is things you're going to see on your wraps or your breads. So this will not be something for you today if you're in your first 12 weeks, but this is just good information for you to know. The word stone ground, 100% whole grain, buckwheat, whole rye, sprouted, flourless. These are words that you want to see on your breads or your wraps. Cassava, almond, coconut, and arrowroot flours are far more lower glycemic than all of these wheat flours. And they're gluten-free, and they're not going to spike your blood sugars, not setting you up for diabetes, and not sending you to the fat storage zone. And anything with vinegar is going to have a lower glycemic impact as well. Now, if you want me to send you a buzzword list, just email me, say, hey, I want the buzzword list, and I'll send it as an attachment. That'll be my response. I'll send it as an attachment. I also have a sugar name list I can send you as well. Just email me and tell me you want it. And that way you can have it for after your 12 weeks, and you're going to maybe start to introduce this stuff, then at least you'll have those lists. All right, so here we go. So this is a small list. I have a list of about 60 or 70. I don't remember, something like that. But these are the basic ones we should avoid. As I said, sugar is the enemy. Sugar is the culprit for sending you to fat storage. Sugar is the one who's going to get you set up for diabetes. And these are all sugars. These are all just names of sugars. High fructose corn syrup is the most processed and the most addictive of all the sugars. So that's and it's the cheapest one, which is why it's in everything. It's in your salad dressing. It's in your canned beans. It's in your so many things. It's in just so many things. Evaporated cane juice. That sounds really nice, but it's very high glycemic. Brown rice syrup, very high glycemic. And a lot of times it's organic brown rice syrup. It sounds so lovely, but it's not. Beet sugar, that's probably the lesser of most evils. Corn syrup or corn syrup solids, very processed, very high glycemic. Avoid, 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 avoid. Sucrose, dextrose, and even honey can spike the blood sugar. So for now, we're just going to avoid all honey for now. Honey can have a lot of good health benefits, but as of now, it is still considered an added sugar. So let's keep that out now. We're trying to kill the bad bacteria in the gut, and sugar is its favorite food. And that's
Tammy,
why- yes.
what about bee pollen? Is that
Well,
straight
that's not
sugar?
going to be a sugar.
It's somebody told me it was because I have bee pollen that I got, for the vitamin use of it. And somebody said, oh, it's just like having straight sugar. So I was like, oh,
No, because I've had it and it's not even sweet.
no, not really. So it's okay.
Yeah, it seems to me that would be a healthy thing.
All right, great.
I haven't even thought about bee pollen in years. I used to sell it in my store. Nobody bought it. It wasn't a big seller.
Well, we have a local guy that actually he has a bee
Well,
farm.
yeah.
Yeah, so he sells it along with his honeys.
But just so you know, when you're looking at your ingredients list, and you know it's a sweet item, like, okay, well, let me look at the ingredients list. And by the way, the ingredients list is most to least. So if the first ingredient is high fructose corn syrup, that means it has more high fructose corn syrup than anything else on that list. It's most to least. So pay attention to what's the first 3 or 4 ingredients. A lot of times they'll say the first 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 ingredients, whatever, and then it'll say 2% of blah, blah, blah. So it's just microdots of the blah, blah, blahs at the end of that list. But those top 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, that's where it's all coming from. So when you look at your nutrition label and you see there's a lot of carbs or sugars, and you see all these, where it's coming from. So, monk fruit, stevia, Reb A, Reb B, those are both names for stevia. Now, coconut sugar, date syrup, maple syrup are still a sugar, but they're lower on the glycemic index. So, but they're not sugar-free. So that might be later. Number 3 down here would be later. Sugar alcohols, which is anything that ends in TOL, they're natural, they're good sweeteners. However, about 20% of the population will have a side effect like diarrhea or bloating from those. So just be mindful, you might not have a good response, and it might not bother you. It's only, 1/5 of the people. So the ones that you do want to avoid is the aspartame, and now they came out with a new name for it, amino sweet. Sucralose, which is your Splenda, saccharin. These are all chemicals. And the aspartame and the sucralose are the ones that that affect the bad bacteria or affect the bacteria in the gut. So we, again, want to avoid those because we're trying to heal the gut. So stay away from those Diet Cokes and diet sodas. And I'm preaching the choir. I don't have any clients right now just struggling with the soda addiction. It's usually the coffee or the actual sugars like cookies and stuff like that. So those are the sugar names. But again, email me if you want the full list. So that item that we were looking at that in that nutrition label in the beginning of this presentation, it showed me 10 grams of fat. Well, is that bad or is that good? I don't know. That's a clue. The 10 grams of fat is just a clue, because if I look at the ingredients and it's all nuts or it's all avocado or it's made with a lot of avocado oil or olive oil or coconut oil or any of these, salmon, egg yolks, grass-fed butter, ghee, I'm like, oh, okay, that's good, 10 grams of the good fat. However, if I'm looking at my ingredients list and I saw that it had 10 grams of fat, and the first thing on the list is soybean oil or palm kernel or shortening or partially hydrogenated or hydrogenated oils. These are trans fats. We want to stay the heck away from them. Shortening, lard, margarine. Margarine is made from partially hydrogenated oils. It's trans fat, which is worse than saturated. We can tolerate some saturated fats. We can have some, not very much. It is not great. But yes, we can have some, but the trans fat that's the one that's been banned in a lot of countries. US is the last to ban anything that's unhealthy. We're allowed to eat all kinds of stuff that other countries won't allow, like these colors and these certain bad oils. So, but again, I have the buzzword list if you want me to send you the complete list. Proteins. So you see there's, 14 grams of protein or 10 grams of protein in something. So you want to see where is it coming from, because sometimes if there's beans in that item or nuts in that item, or things of that nature, some seeds, these are all incomplete proteins. So it's a little bit of an inaccurate because they're not complete proteins. So if it has a whey protein or even a soy protein, which is complete, it is not recommended because soy is a hormone disruptor and we're trying to get everything regulated, but it is a complete protein. If the thing has eggs in it, or if it has like meats, chicken, fish, turkey, seafood, poultry, then you see, okay, that's where the protein's coming from. Whey protein, pea protein, or if it has dairy, not encouraging dairy just yet, but dairy is a good source of protein. It's still dairy, and so we're at this point we're still avoiding, but at least it's a good complete protein if you're really trying to hone in on your proteins, just so you know what you're looking at. So as we learned today, it's not just the calories, which is the first thing that we were growing up. I was always, how many calories, how many calories, how many calories? Because it's calories in, calories out. Eat less, move more. All the baloney we've been fed. It's not how many, well, calories do matter, but where these calories come from have a huge impact on your body's response. Fatty liver and diabetes and heart disease. If we're eating, 1,500 calories of donuts and Snickers bars all day, it's going to be different. Your body's going to respond a whole lot different than eating good veggies, good proteins, and good healthy fats of 1,500 calories. Your body will respond so much different. It will land in the fat burning zone, focusing on proteins and veggies and healthy fats. If you're not, you're going to land in that fat storage zone. Any questions so far? So here is my email address if you want me to send you those lists, coach@drinfantino.com. As you can see, there's no dot between doctor and Infantino. So just take a screenshot if you don't already have my email. Well, you all should. You came to this meeting.
I got a question.
Yes.
So I have signs of osteoporosis, and the doctor prescribed to me like an infusion therapy, like a once a month pill, but it's like scary with the side effects, right? And I need to take calcium, but they said calcium doesn't get absorbed easily in the body or by the bone, and that's why I need that infusion. Have you heard of that medication before? Iban.
I've heard of a product, I don't know the name of it, but I've heard of people taking a thing once a month for bone density.
Mm-hmm.
I would say something that outside of medicines and big pharma and all that, consuming a lot of healthy vegetables like broccoli and romaine and cauliflower. A lot of those have your minerals, including calcium, in them. And because it has other minerals, your body will be able to absorb them. Another important factor for bone density is getting enough protein so that combined with some strength training, the more lean muscle we have, the stronger our bones get. So if you're not getting enough protein in a calorie deficit, your body's probably going to eat up some of that nice lean muscle. And now your bones are going to suffer for it. So in addition to a healthy weight, and that proteins are for repair in the body. So people dismiss it and they don't want to eat it, or for, I understand if it's a religious or you don't want to hurt the animal, but we have to get the protein in supplements, because that's your repair for the body. That's building of lean muscle, which will help with your bone density.
Okay. Are the amino acid type of protein? I'm thinking
Aminos are exactly what protein breaks down into.
Okay.
So
'cause
when I
have
said,
supplements.
pardon?
I've been taking supplements like that. But
Some
it says
aminos?
amino acids. And it's got really good, good type of protein that you don't
Good.
get
That
enough
sounds
of.
good. Branched chain aminos, those are specifically for building muscle. So if you feel like you're not getting enough protein, taking that daily when you're doing your strength training is a great idea
Yeah,
too.
that's what they said before you exercise, take it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Great question. All right. So, all right. So it looks like I got through the whole thing without glitching. If you were here yesterday, you guys got half of the presentation, and then it froze and it was echoing, and it was kind of a little bit of a bummer. So hopefully this was helpful for you. Again, if you want me to send you the full sugar list and the buzzword list, just shoot me an email and ask for it, and I will respond. Does anybody have any other questions? Maybe not related to label reading or?
I do. My question is this: can you move your detox days if you want?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Because we cannot get through an airport with these. And some people just have scheduled trips. They have work trips, they have business trips, they have family trips, whatever the case may be. They were snowbirds. They just live on the other side of the country. But you can't get through an airport with something like this. Or trying to do a road trip and squeeze lemons, it's just not a thing. So start it early and be done before your trip or event. Maybe you're going to a wedding or a conference for your business, and they're providing all the food, so it's just it's just too much. So to start it earlier or push it off to when you get back.
Related to that question, the lemonade mixture, can I do it like 1 or 2 days? Just to give my body a break from all the food that I eat, because I know I'm not gonna be eating perfectly, right?
Yeah, but so here's a trade-off. We just had the protein conversation, and then the first cleanse is 5 days, right?
Right.
So we're going without protein all those 5 days. And you can get a little shake on the transition days, but not a lot of protein happening there either. So you're going to be low on protein. So my concern with that is if you're doing it too often, there's too many days of low protein.
No protein.
Now
Okay.
and it bothered me when I was doing the 5-day cleanse, like, oh my God, my protein, I'm going to lose my muscle. And I'm so adamant about that for my own body. But in the grand scheme of things, it's a trade-off. For the moment, for these 5 days, I'm healing my gut. I'm getting rid of the sludge. I'm getting rid of the sick, and I'm getting rid of the dead cells that have just been sitting there, and so on. We're cleaning out. My gut was distended. By the end of that 5 days, it was a lot flatter, wild. Just I couldn't believe, how just the 5 days did that for my little tummy. But in that time, I wasn't getting the protein. So you trust and believe, when I came off that cleanse, I started and got my protein shakes that first day. And I think I even ate a little protein on day 2 of the transition, just because I want to make sure I'm not going to lose any of that muscle. Now, that being said, you finish this 12 weeks, you will have gone through 3 cleanses. After that, I would say quarterly or 3 times a year would be plenty. So that way you're not starving your body of protein too many times, but at the same time, you're getting a little cleanse, you're getting a little break. And for me, it's like after the holidays for sure, because, the parties and the drinks and the cookies and all the parties,
Right.
So by January, I'm gonna do myself a good cleanse. Or if I go on vacation, especially if it's like the all-inclusive, which has, you go in with the good intentions and you come out with an extra 5 pounds. Like what happened? Well, it's time for a cleanse. So, or if you just had, a family reunion, people stayed at your house for a week and it was just bad after, if you just had a really couple of bad days, then maybe do one, but I wouldn't do it like every month. I think that's just a little too often.
Not a 5-day cleanse, but a 1-day cleanse. Will that help at all? The lemonade mixture, just doing it for 1
Well,
day?
you're doing 3 in 12 weeks, so you don't need to add any to that 12 weeks.
Okay,
After the 12 weeks, if you want to have a day here and there, I would think it would be okay.
got it. Okay, thank you.
So when you do those cleanses, sorry, I got food in my mouth now. Sardines, by the way.
Good protein, there you go. And healthy fats.
Do you always have to do the 2 veggie days before and after? I mean, that I
So
find
the-
those harder than the cleanse itself.
I know, I'm preaching to the choir. I agree. So the first 2 days, at least 1 day on each end. And the reason why you do it prior to the cleanse is so when you get to day 9 or the day of your actual lemonade liquid only part, there's nothing sitting in your gut. The chicken, the fish, the proteins, they take longer to digest. So if you still have chicken or meats in your gut while you're trying to be on this cleanse, your body's still detox or digesting. That's the word I'm looking for. Your body's still digesting and you're not getting that vacation for your gut. So if you can get the 2 days prior, now coming out, if you haven't eaten for 3 or 5 days, your tummy's going to be really sensitive. So to sit down and to have like a big old piece of chicken, you're going to probably get nauseous. So if you can get through at least 1 day of the veggies, so that and just go by how your tummy feels. So start with your mushy vegetables at first. They're overcooked, but it's easy to digest. And then work your way into salads or raw or less cooked veggies, if that's how you like them. And then I think on the second day, I introduced some fish, just because I just wanted to get my protein and my tummy was not, talking to me nausea wise.
Okay, that was a good answer. Thanks.
Why is squash, be careful, it says like, not to eat
Because
too
it's a
much of it?
carb. He has it on the vegetable list.
Yeah,
I would put it under the carb list and keep it in a 1/2 cup serving and count it as one of your carbs. So, and that's a good point for all of you. I'm starting to say it now. I didn't used to say it in the onboarding calls, but it makes me bonkers because that's how I manage my carbs and my food. The winter squash, like butternut squash, acorn squash, spaghetti squash, the squashes that you have to cook to eat, like zucchini squash, you can eat raw if you want to. So that's a vegetable. That's not all you can eat. But the winter squashes, put those into the carb category and stick to your 1/2 cup serving. So if you had, say, brown rice in the morning, 1/2 cup of brown rice in the morning and a 1/2 cup of spaghetti squash at lunch, you're done for the day with your 2 servings of carbs. Count it as a carb. Beets go in that carb category, in my opinion, and also peas, because they're a starchy vegetable. They're very low carb, but if you count it as a carb, you're still getting lots of good fiber. It is low carb, it's lower glycemic, it's not going to spike your blood sugars, sending you into fat storage, like the example I just gave. But that's why. And yams, yams is another one that can go in the carb category as well. And they're
I
not
love sweet
blends.
potatoes.
Huh?
I love sweet potatoes.
Yeah, those are higher glycemic, so really, really in moderation. Yams are a little lower on the glycemic index, so you're better off with that.
Okay.
But like I've got what is it, a butternut squash? I think it's butternut. It's huge, but they were on sale. So I'm gonna make it this weekend. Cut it in half, but you can sweeten that up. There's that brown sugar substitute made by Swerve. It's a blend of monk fruit and erythritol, but it's brown sugar. So you can make it like grandma made, or like that, make it like a dessert. So I haven't decided how I'm gonna make it yet. More savory or more sweet, but those are coming in season. So, but again, half a cup is it's a serving of carbohydrate.
Okay.
What about lima beans? How,
Yeah, lima beans he has on the vegetable list. I would put it any bean, in which the limas are allowed of all the beans. That's it, limas and lentils. But I would definitely put that in the carb category.
and so lentils are also the carb category?
Yep. Lentils. Well, what he has for limited grains and legumes is all he has on there is the brown and wild rice, the lentils, and the quinoa. But I'm saying right next to those, write down winter squash, beets, yams, sweet potatoes. They're kind of on the higher side. And peas and beets. I would add those to that list and take them off of the vegetable list, because the vegetables are on the all-you-can-eat list. So eat as much romaine and spinach and asparagus and zucchini and bell peppers and cabbage and broccoli and cauliflower and carrots. Eat as much of those as you want. But these other ones should be limited because they're starchy vegetables. Anybody else? All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and stop.